Okay, so before we add the two new objects, bringing the total of 4 objects in the game, I wanted to add something to this event. Specifically, when the player's clicking on that score multiplier, let's add an action here to make it go faster. So clicking Add Action, and then add a force angle. So we're going to use the same 90 degrees, but it's going to be a little harder to click on the object because it'll be moving faster. And I'm going to also do permanent so you can see the difference. And then let's go over here. Um, maybe one's over here. And let's make this just a little lower. So as the game is progressing, if I click on this one, now it's much faster than this one here. Okay. Right now the game is pretty easy, so we're going to have a couple of different objects which create more challenge. So let's do the score divider object. Score divider object with some other color here. So why don't we, I think for this one I'll do green. And I will do this one differently. Also, you can click on things to select multiple objects. If an object is selected, you could also control click on it to make a copy of that, and then shift click a couple to then move. After you've shift clicked it a couple, you can move them around. And so probably need a lot of these in order that they interfere with the player's easy time of getting a high score. And you can also make these larger. That's probably recommended. So what's the idea here? Well, I'm going to show you the other way that you can have objects move is with that instantaneous force. So let's say add event without any condition. Over here we're going to take the score divider object and add a force at 0 degrees. That means it's going to go to the right, and we're going to give it some speed and pixels. If you think there are 60 frames a second, you can, go 60 pixels by typing in that much, but if you want it to go really fast, you probably need something like, I don't know, 360 or something larger. And we'll make it instant and run the game here. So they just go across and they're gone. So you can get motion that way, but this is a little bit more clunky, I think, because what we did with that permanent force, you can tweak that permanent force to speed it up or slow it down or change directions. And it remembers what speed it used to be. This is really just moving an object each step of the way with code, so you don't really have an object with a known speed. Maybe it's a subtle difference, but just something to be aware of. Okay, so there's a problem. It goes off the screen, and I needed to do something similar to what I have here, you could probably figure out that something like this is going to be required. So what I'm really going to think about is the x position is too large. So let's add a condition here. Add new event, and the condition is when this has its x position. If that is a really large number, and I'm going to put, let's say, 800 here plus 96 for just good measure to have a little bit of space, especially if I made the objects larger than normal. 32 times 3 is 96, so it would definitely be off to the right of the screen if it was 96 here. And then I'm going to do something very similar to this, but I'm going to change that x position. X position of an object is going to be equal to, let's say, minus 96. And if I've done it right, what I will see is objects appearing from the left and providing this interference thing here. Okay, so that looks good, but it doesn't actually cause problems if I click on it. So I'm going to copy this code here. I'm going to drag this to the bottom. Change this to score divider. And I need a new sound here. This is something bad happens. Losing points. And I'll go back to 100 here. Or, I mean, you could do 75. You want to balance all the audio so it makes sense for what's going on. And we're not going to do anything like with helping the player. This is something where the player is losing points. And I don't know, I guess we could make something that's fast even faster. So I'm going to play the game on purpose to get some points here. So this is too easy. I need to definitely have more of these green things because I can just click on this all day. Okay. But the idea works here. If I click on the green thing, I went down to 32, I went down to 8, 2, whoops. My objects are going off the screen the wrong way. I have a bug in my code. So this is easy to do. I have copied and pasted something, which is a really easy thing in programming to make a mistake with. I just made a mistake here. That angle should be 0. And level design problems, I need this to be causing some kind of challenge. I can zoom into this, turn off that grid. And this is too easy. So I think I need to make that a little smaller. Anyway, this is just experimental. So you could definitely slow this down so it would be more dramatic here. Let's do 180. This is what you would do for test purposes. Slow things down, making it a lot easier. Oh, now I need to put some green ones here. Okay, 4, 1. Now we got this fractional number, really small. Okay, it works, and the green objects are in different speeds from one another, and they're going only to the right. Um, I probably need to take this object and, I don't know, make it like 580. Something where you can see it more consistently. Uh, and add more objects. Um, so that sounds kind of quiet. I'm gonna just make this volume maximum. And I think I want to add an object here, which is kind of a strange object. I'm thinking of this object is going to make more score dividers. It's kind of a spawn object. So what do I mean by that? Let's try this here. I'm going to later on add a behavior, but let's just do this. Oh, you could say like score divider. Spawner. And so this is kind of a cool object where it makes other objects. Oh, and I wanted to do a couple of things here. I'm going to have two pieces of artwork. And this, within animation 0, they start the counting from 0, meaning that this is frame 0 and frame 1. That means the last number is one less than the total. You can have many, many frames of animation. If you have 10 frames of animation, they'll be numbered, let's say, 0 through 9. Okay, so we'll play with that, but first, let's just put this here. And when you click on that, we're going to create a new object. So we're going to have something like this. And I guess we'll just paste that. That's convenient. So this is totally a mistake that the player makes. They're not going to lose points. But what we will do here is we're going to create a new object of this type. Create an object. So score divider, create an object. And here you can use some built-in math functions. I'm going to use the random function. And the whole screen is, I guess, 800 by 600. But I want it to be on the screen visibly, so I'm going to subtract a little bit. I'm going to give it some algebra. And that's what I'll do for that. And you can just use the default layer here, where this would be 600 minus 32. And we'll save. And okay. Probably want to make this one larger. Maybe move where it is. So I want to do two things. Let's do the first thing where we're going to animate this. So we've got 2 frames of animation. And let's make things simple. 1 frame of animation a second and loop. And apply that. And so we've got kind of a cyan, light blue to dark blue. So I'm going to add the condition here that the score divider spawner that is being clicked on, and the code is actually going to be smart about this, it is going to have the current frame be equal to 0. So you can listen to the volume. If I click when it's dark blue, I don't hear anything. When it's light blue, yeah, I can hear that sound, and I can, yeah, I can. So sometimes you can click on it, sometimes not. And so that's besides whatever animation it is, which you can certainly change animations. Within that animation, you can pick a frame. So this is part of what I was thinking. The last thing I guess I want to do is add a behavior, and then you can modify this to make it a much better game. So let's do the last thing here. I'm going to double click on score divider thing, score divider spawner. This object will, under behaviors, click on add a behavior to the object. We're going to search for a sinusoidal movement here, allowing an object to move smoothly on the x and or y axis following a sine wave or an ellipsis. So you install it in project. So anything that you have in the behavior list here that's installed could be put with any object. So here's the sine movement here. Okay, so you have an x and a y amount. If you ever wanted to have something be like a little planet or moon orbiting something in the center, like like the sun, this is what it would be. That you would have this number and the x and the y be the same. But let's do it a little differently. We're going to have a lot of movement in the x-axis and just a little bit in the y. And the speed is in degrees per second. And you'll see what that looks like. Okay. And still you can click on this. Great. And then there's a little bit of extra thing I was thinking of for this score divider spawner. Why don't we make it such that every step that we're running this code 60 times a second, we take an action to take the spawner object and then actually go up to angle, rotate, and then per second it's going to go, let's say, 60 degrees. So it'll take 6 total seconds for the whole object to move around and face its original direction. And I'm going to save. And so this game.json is what to turn in for your homework for the in-class lab. And the different object values here, you can play around with that, and the number of objects you can also arrange it so it's a better game, more even and balanced. And do what you like. And then based on this, you can augment it, and there'll be a homework assignment based on this. That's it.